All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the St. Ignatius College Prep College Fair. We're so excited to have you joining us in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. Each school will have 6 minutes to share more about their institution, but these representatives will be around for the entire session to answer any of your questions. My name is Stephanie, and I will be your facilitator for this session. Before we get started, just a couple very quick housekeeping items for you. Students and attendees, your camera and microphones are off, so our presenters cannot see or hear you. You can use that Q&A button, though, on your screen to type questions to them at any time during this session. This is just one of many different sessions happening this evening. There is a whole other round that immediately follows this round. So please be sure to check out the schedule on the website to sign up for anything else. And this presentation will be recorded and it will be available at strivescan.com/Ignatius. I'd now like to turn it over to our very first presenter, John Carroll University.
Hello, everyone. Give me just one moment while I get my screen shared here. Well, first, quick introduction. My name is Mike Engelbrecht. I am the Enrollment Manager from John Carroll, who works with all of our Chicagoland students and all of our students from St. Ignatius. I'm originally from the western suburbs of Chicago. Went to John Carroll where I graduated in 2018, and they haven't got rid of me yet. So I'm still lucky enough to be coming back to Chicago and working with families just like yourself. So a little bit about John Carroll. We are one of the 27 Jesuit colleges, so you'll have the opportunity to continue your Jesuit education from St. Ignatius. We are about 15 minutes, about a 5.5 hour drive from where you are right now. And then size-wise, we are about 3,300 students. In the Jesuit school, we really focus heavily on the idea of educating the whole person. So at John Carroll, you're going to see equal emphasis placed on your social and emotional growth. That first piece, academic, we definitely are a university. We are going to make you smarter. And there's a lot of different ways that you can focus at John Carroll. One of the best parts about our curriculum is you actually don't have to pick your major until the end of sophomore year. So the opportunity to come in, take class across the entire university while you're still hearing for you. Or if you go right away, you can dive right in. From an academic perspective, we are a liberal arts university. For different majors. Recently, though, we have found a lot of
Mike, I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. You froze. Oh, now you're back.
I am back. I am so sorry.
It happens.
How far did I get?
Just talking about your location and everything.
Perfect. Apologies for that. We'll hop there as soon as this loads up here. Okay, so going on to academics, I'm not sure if you heard me say this or not, but I'm going to repeat it really quickly. Being a Jesuit school, we really focus on the idea of cura personalis, so educating the full person. So you'll have an equal emphasis on your academic, professional, and social and emotional. Being a key part of that. Obviously, we are a university. We want you to grow that way, and we're going to make you smarter. One of the best parts about Carroll is that you'll have the opportunity to come in, and you actually don't have to pick your major until the end of your sophomore year. So you can take classes from across the entire university while you figure things out. Or if you know, you can hop right on in. We are a liberal arts university, so we have opportunities really across the board, but recently we've found a lot of success in the worlds of business and healthcare. We are the #1 accounting school in the state of Ohio, number 27 in the country. And healthcare-wise, we are partnered with the Cleveland Clinic, #2 hospital in the world. They actually hold research and internship positions for our students every single semester. So not just me bragging about it, it's also important to see that other people are interested in what we're doing here at Carroll too. And as you can see, we are ranked the #2 university in the Midwest by US News and World. This basically means Nebraska to Ohio, schools of about 6,000 or less. We're really proud of this ranking, but equally important is that it's not like someone showed up a couple years ago and just flipped the switch. saying we're going to do great things. We've been in the top 10 for 33 consecutive years. And what that does is really build a strong professional network and a strong alumni network that's going to help you get where you need to be. And that kind of goes into that cura personalis professional piece of it. Something unique about John Carroll is we actually have a professional development program for every single one of our students, and it's built into your coursework. So you'll have assignments in your classes where you go get a resume approved, or you have to go to an off-campus networking event, or even watch a module on salary negotiation. So different things that really help you take that next step where you don't just know things, but you know how to sell yourself to that first employer in that first graduate school. And it's working. That stat at the bottom, we're really proud of. 1 year after graduation, 93% of our students either have a full-time job, are in a PhD or master's program, or are doing a year of service. I like that 93% stat. I do think there's one even better. We do the same survey the morning of graduation, and it's 76%. Before our students even get handed a diploma, over 3/4 of our students already know what's next for them. And that's because of that mix of the academic preparation and that professional growth. Now that social emotional piece that we talked about, at John Carroll, you are going to have that opportunity to kind of find your home and find your niche. Being a smaller university, you're going to have the opportunity to get involved in a lot of different facets of what we offer. So whether you want to get involved in one of our 23 varsity sports, we are part of the Ohio Athletic Conference, one of the premier Division III conferences in the country. Not only are we part of the conference, but we're also doing really well. The conference gives out a trophy every year based on how teams do during the regular season. And our men's team has won the conference trophy the last 4 years, and our women's teams have finished second, third, and second. So you get to compete at a high level where at a school that's very invested in their sports teams. We also, being a Jesuit school, are very focused on service. Over 90% of our students voluntarily partake in service at least once a year. So that's a big part of our culture. We also have a really strong campus ministry program with different retreats like Manresa, which has St. Ignatius students we consider often like our college Kairos. And then also our immersion program, where we send students on 7 to 10 day international and domestic trips, all with a different meaning to them. So you could go to Honduras for a medical immersion, or you could go to Appalachia to talk about more local poverty. And then ultimately Cleveland, our location, right in our backyard. Lots of great opportunities. We have this beautiful red brick green quad campus, but at the same time, you have the professional sports scene. You have the music scene with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame being there. It's a big part of your college experience at John Carroll. If you want to learn more, I'll put information in the chat as well, but I will be the one working with you over the next few years. I'm excited to be back at St. Ignatius in the fall, so definitely keep an eye out for John Carroll, and I look forward to meeting you all then. And next, we will be going over to Owen at Providence.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. By way of introduction, my name is Owen Blind. I'm Senior Associate Dean of Admission at Providence College, and was fortunate enough to have the Chicago area for about 6 or 7 years until we actually added a colleague of mine who's regionally based. So Megan O'Rourke has another program this evening, but she's the one you'll be working with most of the time. And as I mentioned, she's in Chicago, so certainly feel free to reach out to her at any point. But at this point, just going to give you kind of a brief introduction into Providence, who we are, what makes us distinctive, and kind of what you can expect from a PC education. First thing, we are a liberal arts college, and we're pretty traditional when it comes to that. We have a school of business, arts, science, education, kind of a broad list of programs, but really traditional liberal arts core. So our students who are studying biology, they're going to be taking a fine arts class. Our theater majors, they're studying a quantitative class. And that's something we're pretty committed to. A lot in higher ed has kind of shifted away towards more vocational training. That traditional liberal arts core is something that's really kind of important to our experience and who we are as an institution. We are also a mostly undergraduate institution. So we have about 4,000 undergraduate students and just a couple hundred grad students. So the emphasis is really on undergrads. And where that comes into play is a few different places, but I think most popularly would be when it comes to research. Our professors receive millions of dollars each year to do research, and they don't have grad students to choose from, so they have to pick undergrads. And so just this week alone, we have 10 students out in San Diego with 4 professors presenting at a chemistry conference for undergraduate research. And those sort of things happen quite frequently. So that undergrad focus gives the attention to our students and definitely allows you to kind of dive in deeply with your study, which positions you well, certainly for life after Providence College. And then the most unique thing about Providence is that we're not just a Catholic college, but we're a Dominican college. So there are hundreds of Catholic colleges, but the Friars, they have a high school in Chicago, Fenwick, if you've heard of it, and a college in Rhode Island, and that's it. And so it's a big part of who we are as an institution. There's about 50 Friars who live right on campus. About half teach, half in more administrative roles. And those who teach are kind of where you'd expect: theology, philosophy, literature, but there's also an economist, a biologist, a political scientist. And so those half teach, and then the other half are involved in campus ministry and student life. And I think for students of all different faith backgrounds, they do a lot to build the kind of the community feel that many of our students describe around campus. We're a largely residential campus. We're about 7% in-state, and Chicago is certainly one of the larger areas where we're drawing from nationally. And so I think you'll find a very residential community. Our students almost care just as much about like everything else as they do academics, in a really good way. There's kind of this dynamic where like the average PC student, I was talking to one this afternoon, and she had her intramural championship game tonight, and she has an exam tomorrow. There's no way she's missing that. They're very kind of engaged in the community and really kind of enjoy everything that they are a part of on campus. So a lot of kind of student life and activities that are available for students to get involved in. A big part of campus life would be athletics. We're Division I athletics. We're actually the smallest school in a major athletic conference, which is kind of a cool dynamic. I always like when you look at our student section and compare it to schools with tens of thousands of students, and it relatively looks the same. Certainly a lot of buzz this year. I'm actually eagerly waiting to board my flight tomorrow to come out your way, as Providence is playing in the Sweet 16. But for a school with 4,000 students, if you're looking for that smaller environment, but with big time sports, that's definitely kind of a niche that we fill. All of our athletics, they play on campus with the exception of the men's basketball program, which plays in the arena in downtown Providence. Separate from that, there's other ways to stay active, as I mentioned, with intramurals or club sports. Definitely a very kind of active campus community in a number of different ways. Last thing, we're located in the city of Providence. We are about 5 minutes from downtown. So right now I'm actually sitting in downtown. We're about 5 minutes from here. Very traditional campus feel. So campus itself, you can walk from corner to corner in about 20 minutes or so. There's about 70 buildings. And then you have the city right there. And what's kind of cool about Providence is there's 7 or 8 colleges in Providence. So it has a younger kind of college town feel to it. Very artsy, funky city, has definitely a cool vibe to it. So a really fun place to spend your college years. And then for us, we have that more traditional campus. So around us, there's pizza shops and bakeries, that sort of stuff, but it doesn't feel like you're in a city. And then you have the benefits of the city right there. The final piece I'll kind of leave you with is real quick on the application process. We are on the common application. So make it sort of straightforward for you, at least as far as what app to choose. We are test optional, so completely up to you if you want to submit SAT or ACT scores. And we've been that way for 16 years. So it's not something brought about by the pandemic. It's something that's a big part of our review, and almost half of our applicants in a traditional year do choose to apply test optional. As we're looking ahead, I encourage you to visit campus. We're constructing a new residence hall as well as finishing our science complex, and we're currently working on the early stages of our plans for a school of nursing. So it's certainly a very exciting time around PC, not just with the Sweet 16 taking place on Friday. Hope you didn't mark us out of your bracket yet, but certainly with a lot going on with the college. So drop some questions in the Q&A and look forward to chatting with you, or feel free to connect with Megan. Up next, though, I'd throw it to my colleagues about a half hour south of here at Roger Williams University. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you very much, Owen. I'm Bill Abbott from Roger Williams University. Give me a second to be able to set all of this up for you here. We are, as Owen was saying, just about 25-30 minutes down the road from Providence, located in beautiful Bristol, Rhode Island, right on the ocean with 140 acres right on Mount Hope Bay, which means, hey, number one major for us is marine biology. We'll get into that here in a moment. We have roughly a little bit more than 4,000 students that study on our campus in Bristol. We actually have two campuses, not just the campus in Bristol, but we do have a campus in downtown Providence as well. That campus caters to a kind of an adult learner situation as opposed to the more traditional freshman, daytime, full-time campus that we have in Bristol, Rhode Island. So we're about 25 minutes outside of Providence, about an hour south of Boston, about 3 hours east of New York City. Recently, Bristol was ranked the 5th safest college town in America by safewise.com, so a very safe campus environment as well. Very small class sizes, very advantageous student faculty ratio. So it's a situation where faculty definitely know who you are. They take an active interest in what you do, and the progression of your overall education, as it's understood that in a very short period of time, you move from being a student to being a colleague with a lot of our faculty members. We like to say that as you study with us, and certainly with all of the things that we offer, marine biology is our top major at the university. We have the only licensed hatchery in the entire state of Rhode Island. We're also the official partner with the state of Rhode Island on the Narragansett Bay Estuary Project. So we are oversee all of the research as well as a lot of the protection of the natural resource there. Architecture is very big at our university, as is engineering. Our business school has done exceptionally well by our students. The former CEO and president of Samsung North America is one of our alums, as is the current treasurer of Amazon. And criminal justice continues to grow at the university. And on top of everything else, and I realize you don't study this at the undergraduate level, but we have the #1 law school in the state of Rhode Island. As you study with us, about 1/3 of your overall education will be in your primary area of study. So whatever your major is going to be, know that about 13, 14 of your classes will be in that particular area. And you will have an opportunity to study classes in your major right away, to get that confirmation immediately up front that this is exactly what you want to be doing. Or in some cases, just as valuable. That's not what I thought it was going to be. Maybe I should be doing something else. We understand about 1/3 of our students have the ability to and actually choose to transfer and change majors while they're with us. Core curriculum, the liberal arts component is a big part of what you do. About 1/3 of your course is there, as we want our students to be very well-rounded. And the other third is to be able to follow your own interests. To the extent that more than 80% of our students, as they get ready to graduate, will be doing so with a degree in more than one subject. So all of these things that seemingly make total sense to a lot of people, like combining economics and finance, or combining psychology and criminal justice, you have the ability to be able to do that, as well as do something like one of my students is doing this year, taking a major in engineering and a minor in dance. If that's what you want to do, that's exactly what you have the ability to do. And in just this past year, 84% of our students graduated with a degree in more than one subject. As far as the application process goes, we're test optional as well. We've been test optional for a number of years. As Owen was saying over at PC, we're test optional because we're so project oriented and hands-on with what we do. We realize that for students who study best in that particular atmosphere, test scores may not be the best judge of potential success. We're a common application school as well. Obviously, it's all driven by your high school transcript. There is an essay requirement, one letter of recommendation. For students who are applying for some of the more creative programs, there is a portfolio requirement for architecture. Somewhere between 8 to 12 hand drawings is what we're looking for. But if you have some experience with CAD and other rendering programs, a couple of pieces there will work as well. And there is an audition requirement for dance that you can now do through Zoom. And we do offer both early action and regular decision, as well as kind of combining our honors deadline with the early action. Next steps to be able to come and join us and come and enjoy the beautiful seaside life in Bristol, Rhode Island. We'd love for you to be able to come and visit. And since 1/3 of all schools from the state of Rhode Island are actually here in this session, you can actually visit all 3 of us in one day. You can do a virtual visit as well by visiting our website. We have guided tours, both virtually as well as online information sessions, to get you a little bit more in depth. Certainly, we encourage you to keep in touch. I know that some some of the best questions come about a half hour after these sessions are over. So feel free to email us anytime, and certainly apply. That's the first step in all of this. As you guys are going through your college search process right now, you're probably thinking, wow, Rhode Island could be an awful far distance from here, or in some cases, maybe not far enough away. There's all kinds of different concerns, but I say this to all students, whether it's Roger Williams or any other university that you're looking at this stage during your search. If you have an interest in the school, apply. You never know what's going to happen along the way. And certainly, as cost is always an issue for a lot of families, and budgetary reasons can keep people from applying as well. Apply to schools that you like, and you never know how much financial love is going to come your way, as we have generous scholarships as well at Roger Williams University. I'm going to move this along to my colleague Pam, just 20 minutes down the road and across the bridge on Aquidneck Island, and down to Newport, Rhode Island, and Salve, Regina.
Great, thank you so much, Bill. I have to say, after hearing from PC and Roger Williams University, our little tiny state is starting to feel pretty big. So welcome, everyone. My name is Pam Haru. I am the Associate Dean of Admissions here at Salve, Regina University. Delighted to be here tonight to share a little bit about our university. So give me just a minute to share my screen. All right, well, Salve Regina University. We're located here in Newport, Rhode Island. And when we talk about distinctive features of different colleges and universities, I'm immediately drawn to the mission here at Salve. We were founded by the Sisters of Mercy, and it's an order of nun that came over from Ireland, and they're known as the Walking Nuns. And they believed that if you're of able mind and body, be out in your communities, learn the needs of your community, and be ready to take action. So our mission statement centers around working for a world that's harmonious, just, and merciful. And what was really interesting, back in 1947, when the Sisters of Mercy founded Salve Regina, they identified 5 critical concerns that our education would be centered around. And those critical concerns back in 1947 were identified as the earth, immigration, nonviolence, anti-racism, and women. And it makes us very proud to know that we have that forward thinking of our founding sisters. And those critical concerns are something that we're still addressing on a day-to-day basis here in everything that we do at Salve. Our campus is located in Newport, Rhode Island. It is a historic oceanside campus. We have 2,100 undergraduate students. So if you're thinking about what that translates to and move-in day, you'll be moving in with about 550 to 575 students. We have students representing 41 states and 21 nations. This year was a record number of applications from Illinois. I'm very proud to say that, and we hope that will continue. We are about a 3-hour direct flight from O'Hare to Providence, and there's 3 airlines that service that flight, and the average cost is about $300, so very accessible for you. There's a number of features about our academic experience, but one that I want to highlight tonight is our internship program. Internships are a key component of whatever academic area you're going into. Internships at Salve are administered through our faculty. With a low student-faculty ratio, the professors really get to know you and your strengths and weaknesses, your likes and dislikes. And by owning those internships, they can really personalize your experience and say, gosh, you really seem to shine when we were studying this content area. Would you like to try something with this person in my network? And they're going to be your mentor as you go through those experiential learning opportunities. We do have over 45 different majors that you can be involved with. Keep in mind, about 25% of our students will come in undecided. So if you don't know exactly what you want to do with your life, that's fine. We have a robust advising program here at Salve that can help you explore these different areas. Now, these majors that you see can also be offered as minors. And you will find a number of students at Salve do more than a bachelor's degree. It might be a combination of multiple degrees. It might be that they have a major and a minor, or it could be that you're exploring one of our pre-professional programs. But it's something that you can change and evolve as you move throughout your 4-year sequence here at Salve. We do have 20 varsity athletic teams. We compete in the NCAA Division III Commonwealth Coast Conference. If you are interested in taking your athletics to the next level, we do advise you to reach out to our coaching staff and start that process. But keep in mind, we also have a number of club teams, intramural sports, classes that you can get involved with, things like yoga and Pilates. And then we also have instruction in sports that are native to where we are. We're home to the International Tennis Hall of Fame, so we like everyone to pick up a racket at some point in their 4 years. And the city of Newport is called the City by the Sea. We're the sailing capital of the world. So we do ask that everyone that comes to Salve, at some point in your experience, get out there on a boat and give it a spin in the harbor. We do have 80 student organizations this year. What happens at the start of each semester is you'll be invited to Club Rush, and that's when you get to learn about all the different organizations. And at the end of that week, you'll sign on to the ones that are most interesting to you. You might continue with a passion that you already have, or you might explore something new. But with each semester, you're going to have the opportunity to meet new people, take some risks, and explore the things that you're passionate about. The city of Newport's a great place to live. Our little state of Rhode Island has a lot to offer. And here in Newport, we are an international hub for tourism. That being said, there's a number of music and food festivals, seasonal celebrations, a great art scene and music scene, tons of opportunities to recreate, whether it be at the beaches or in the nature preserves. And any water or land sport that you might be interested in, you'll have a chance to explore that. Some of the things that are new for us, what I really want to highlight is our signature Salve experience. This starts with a fly-in program, so I'd like to invite you to reach out to us if you're interested in coming to visit our campus, and then that extends to afford our students the opportunity to stay here in Newport throughout the summer. It's a great opportunity for you to really experience the culture and that vibrancy of a year-round experience. We do have some new academic programs, including some of our doctoral programs and master's programs, and we encourage you to continue to learn more through our virtual programs. We are a common application school with traditional deadlines of early action and regular decision. And our application requirements, you can find those on our website, pretty straightforward, nothing out of the ordinary. And we have some really special scholarship opportunities for students as well. So we would like to meet you, plenty of opportunities to connect with us. Again, go ahead and check in on the website and we'll be sure to get you some more information. But thank you so much for your time, and I'll be here for the Q&A after. And I'd like to now pass it on to my friend Denise from Simmons University.
Thank you. So I'm actually, I know we've been going around Rhode Island, and we're going to go up north to Boston, which is where Simmons is located. So let me just go ahead and share my screen, like everyone has been saying. Okay, great. So Simmons University. So my name is Denise Rosales. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm one of the senior assistant directors of undergraduate admission. I gotta say that really fast. It's like a mouthful. So a little bit about Simmons University. We are located in Boston, Massachusetts, like I mentioned. Our undergraduate class is about 1,800 students, a little below that. And specifically in Boston, we're right down the street from Fenway Park. It's literally like a 10 to 15-minute walk, depending on which entrance you go into. And the reason I mentioned that is that Boston can be so big, but we're known to be in the college town. So there's schools everywhere. And so although we are a small school, we are, I like to say, the best of both worlds, where we're a small school, but in a big city, which is always great. And we are a women-centered institution. So students that identify as women, trans, non-binary, gender fluid can attend our undergraduate programs. And then our graduate programs are co-ed. So, and it is Boston. So compared to other women-centered institutions, we have a lot of students just everywhere, especially guys are around because it's Boston and because of the other schools. That is something I always like to mention. So kind of going back to my point about Boston being a college town, to give you kind of an idea of what's in the area. So this map here It's not to scale. I know it says it's approximate, but I don't really think it's proximate in my opinion. Fenway does look farther away than it actually is from Simmons in this map. But if you see here, we're also located in the Longwood medical area. So that's like our neighboring, like in our backyard neighboring buildings. And so this Longwood medical area has some of the best hospitals in the country. So some of them being Boston Children's Hospital, Brigham and Women's, Dana-Farber Institute of Cancer, so many things. And we have a lot of partnerships and collaborations with these different hospitals. So we have students who are doing clinicals, internships, research at these hospitals, but also a lot of them sometimes end up getting a job after graduation at, in these locations, just because of we have such a great reputation with these hospitals. We're also right next to some museums like the Museum of Fine Arts, Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. You can actually get into those museums for free using your Simmons ID. And then everything on this map, if you wanted to walk to, you could, but I would say the best way to kind of go around the city is using our public transit, which we call the T. Everything on this map is accessible by public transit, including the airport, which is on this map. So if you didn't want to take an Uber or a Lyft and you wanted to just take the train over to the airport, you very much can do that. And then the same thing as Cambridge is on here, which is outside of Boston. But if you ever wanted to go to like Harvard Square to get some donuts, which are very popular in Harvard Square, you could do that with just a train ride, and it doesn't take that long. So a lot to do in the area, and we are a small school, so it is fun and exciting. This is a list of our majors and programs. I won't go through each of them because there's a lot on here, but we do have a few direct entry programs, those being nursing, physical therapy, and then our accelerated programs on the right side of the screen. So basically direct entry just meaning that you need to apply for these programs once you're entering and enrolling into Simmons. So even if you're on the fence about any of these programs or majors, I always just recommend students to just go for it and apply. It's better to have that option than not at all. And then our accelerated programs on the right side of the screen are just programs where you can receive multiple degrees. So our 3+1 programs are where you can receive a bachelor's and master's within 4 years. So it's just a little bit of math, 3+1. And same thing with physical therapy. We do have a DPT program, but that is a 3+3 program, which is basically you'll end up getting your doctorate in physical therapy. And we do have a dual bachelor's accelerated program where you can get a bachelor's from Simmons and then a bachelor's in engineering at Columbia University. It's a brand new partnership that we have. But those are just some of our programs that we offer right off the bat. So no matter what program you choose, 100% of our students partake in some sort of real world learning. So that it can include internship, clinicals, research, independent studies. And also because we're part of a consortium called the Colleges of the Fenway, meaning that we just have a partnership with some other schools in the Fenway area, you can actually take advantage of some of those other classes if you really wanted to. So you could take classes at Wentworth or Emmanuel College, but you can also take advantage of their study abroad programs, which very much goes into this real world learning aspect. So I did mention we're a women's-centered institution, and I did want to kind of bring us back to that. I always get a lot of questions about this, which is totally fine. I'm welcoming all the questions, but one of my favorite statistics to highlight is that students that attend these schools are twice as likely to complete a graduate degree. And I think some of that comes from just like the mission of our school about, we are founded really trying to emphasize leadership in women and advocating for marginalized communities. And many of our students fall under that umbrella, and our faculty take that into consideration in every step of the way through their college curriculum, which is something that we want our students leaving empowered, confident, and like they can do anything once they leave Simmons. And that's my PowerPoint, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If you have any questions, feel free to, I'll throw my email in the chat, and I'm going to hand it over to Laura at Trinity.
Thanks, Denise. Hello, everyone. just like everyone else. Give me a moment to share my screen. Alrighty. So hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Silverman. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a senior assistant director at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut. We're a small private liberal arts school of just over 2,300 students. And I'm especially excited to be here today because I am the rep for Illinois. I've been recruiting out here for about 5 years, so very familiar with Illinois, very familiar with St. Ignatius, and just excited to share space with you all this evening. I love to show this photo because I think it does a great job of demonstrating where our campus sits in relation to the city of Hartford. So the brick buildings and the big tall white structure you see towards the front of the photo, that's our campus. We have a 100-acre campus. It's fairly sprawling, looks like that very traditional liberal arts college that tends to be highlighted in a lot of movies and TV. But in the background, the taller buildings you see on the skyline, that is the city of Hartford. So we're about a 10-minute walk to the middle of downtown Hartford. For those of you who don't know, Hartford is the capital of Connecticut. We're the seat of state government. We're home to many businesses, large and small. So we end up being a really great space for students who don't want to choose between having that really traditional liberal arts small campus feel, but also don't want to sacrifice all of the benefits that come with being located or going to school in a city. But I also do want to just take a moment to acknowledge that this beautiful campus that we sit on and the middle of the urban center that Hartford is, sits on land that was originally stolen from the Wangunk people. So this is an indigenous tribe that's located or that's been home or that finds its home in Connecticut. They've been here for many hundreds of years. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot known about the Wangunk people, and we're currently engaged in research with other colleges in the area to learn about our community's history with these people. And we do feel it's important to just acknowledge this because we are an educational institution and because we do find it so important to know more about our past with this group of individuals. I mentioned that Trinity is a liberal arts college, so our academic experience is really founded and grounded in that. So every student, regardless of their major, will go through a standard curriculum that is based in the liberal arts. We believe in giving students this broad-based education and showing them what they can do with many different skills from many different academic areas. So we have 41 majors and 27 minors. Included in those majors are some more of what I would consider traditional liberal arts majors. So think things like English, history, political science, but we offer those alongside some more innovative majors as well. So things like computer science, educational studies. We offer a fully Abbott accredited engineering program, and we also offer a human rights major. We're actually one of only 3 colleges in the country that offer a human rights major. So those end up being some of our more popular majors on campus, but really we have students who are majoring in lots of different things and have the option to also push them together and do double majors. We're seeing that more and more students really have that interdisciplinary focus and want to learn how they can put 2 things together and apply them into real world experiences. I mentioned Hartford. I think this is one of the more proud things that we have here at Trinity. We're very proud of our location in the city of Hartford, and we also know what this means for our students. So I mentioned real world experiences. We have just started incorporating a new part into our curriculum that allows students to do things like internships, research experiences, TA experiences for academic credit. And a lot of the reason why they are able to do this is because of our location in Hartford. So there are a couple of colleges in the Hartford area, but we have actually been here the longest. And I think that's really worked to our advantage as we have strived to make better, deeper relationships with the community that exists in Hartford. And this has just opened the doors for our students. So we have over 200 internship opportunities that are specifically set aside for Trinity students in the Hartford community alone. And we also have a lot of research opportunities. We are primarily an undergraduate institution, and we do a lot of research as a college. And the best part about it is that it's not something students have to wait to get involved in. So first-year students can get involved in research opportunities, and a lot of those are taking place in real-world experiences right in the middle of downtown Hartford. So I think our proximity to the city is really enabling our students to put into practice this liberal arts curriculum that we're exposing them to. In terms of our campus community, our students are involved. They are incredibly involved across a wide variety of things, whether that's even just being involved in the Hartford community or being involved on our campus. So we have over 140 student clubs and organizations. We have a really big art scene at Trinity. So students who are coming to us who are bringing their backgrounds in visual arts, performing arts. We also have our own movie theater on campus. So we really have this burgeoning film environment, I guess you could say, on campus. We do have a film studies major, and many students use the theater that we have on campus to show their films throughout the year. But athletics are also a big part of what we do. We are part of the NESCAP conference. It's one of the premier athletic D3 conferences in the New England area. So we have 30 men's and women's NCAA Division III teams, and they do very, very well across a wide variety of sports. Notably, our squash team does very well every year, as do our basketball teams and our crew teams. And then in terms of our admissions process, we're fairly standard across the board in terms of what we are expecting. But the one thing that I do want to highlight is our test optional policy, because I know that this trips folks up during the admissions process. So I just want to shed a little bit of light on that. We are test optional at Trinity. We have been test optional for many years now. In fact, less than 20% of students who apply to Trinity every year even submit their test scores. So we really fostered this culture of, during the admissions process, we're not looking at those test scores. And the reason is because our community is so small. It doesn't really make sense for us to rest our admissions decisions on numbers alone. So we find ourselves leaning much more heavily into things like letters of recommendation or the essay that you write on your common application. So just wanted to shed a little bit of light there. And then when it comes to financial aid, we meet 100% of demonstrated need. So what that means is when you submit the FAFSA and the CSS profile, we require both forms to apply for financial aid. Whatever those forms come back and say that you are owed, we are able to meet 100% of that. And it's probably the larger way that we're helping students to finance their education. But if I offer one piece of advice, and I've been saying this out on the road already this season, is don't be afraid to reach out to financial aid offices. And that goes for Trinity, but it goes for pretty much every other school that you're going to be applying to. They have folks on their staff, just like myself and other admissions counselors, who are there and ready to answer your questions. At Trinity specifically, you don't even have to have applied yet to talk to our financial aid office. So if that's something that sounds appealing to you, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to help facilitate that. But like I said, I am the counselor who is tied to Illinois, tied to St. Ignatius. So I'm really excited to be working with hopefully many of you throughout the rest of your college search process. So please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I will turn it back over to our lovely facilitator. And I think we do have some time for Q&A. Good job, everybody. We never always end on time. Good job.
All right, awesome job to all of our presenters. You guys are absolute rock stars. We have about 3 minutes left, so let's wrap up our time with one question for Q&A. So I see everyone's coming back on camera. Awesome. We'll go in the same order everyone presented in, just to make it easy. What is one piece of advice you would like to leave these students with for when they are going through the college search process? Mike, you're up first.
Absolutely. I would definitely say visit campuses. Finding a college is really a three-step process. Does it fit on paper? Does it feel right? And is it the right investment for your family? And there's no way to know if it really feels right unless you're there. So come visit John Carroll.
I think my piece of advice is that the college search is obviously an important part of your later years in high school, but it shouldn't be the only part. Don't let it overwhelm you and take the place of such important traditions like prom or your final games or your last club event. Maybe set aside an hour every week where you think about college things, but feel free to step away from it. I think there's a frenzy around this that there doesn't necessarily need to be, and make sure you kind of remain balanced and enjoy these final years of high school.
And to add to that, don't be afraid to approach any of us. We're here to be able to assist you with any kind of questions you have. No question is too silly or too out there for us to be able to answer. And that goes for virtually any university that you're approaching at this stage. Feel free to ask questions of all of us.
I'd just like to add on you can't really mess this up. There's not just one right school for you. There's a lot of schools that would be very right for you. So you're going to trust yourself in this process, but you're going to get it right. You really will.
Yeah, I would also say it's okay to have non-negotiables, what I like to call them. So things that you're absolutely need in the school that you go to, whether it's something that you had at the high school you went to, or it's something new that you really want, whether that's athletics, like good counseling center, anything like that. Have your list of non-negotiables and make sure you're also asking if those resources are available to you and how these schools are going to support you, because no matter where you go, it's going to be a transition. So yeah.
I kind of already gave a piece of advice, but I'll give another, which is trust yourself in the admissions process and take advice that you receive with a grain of salt, because only you know what you want and what you need. And it's really easy to get caught up in rankings and what your parents have told you and their experiences, and get a feel for this yourself and trust your gut. If you go to a school and you're like, this is it for me, let yourself feel that, because you're the one that's going to have to go there for 4 years. So it's really important to, trust yourself in this process. You know yourselves better than anyone, and you know what you're doing.
Started talking with myself muted. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. It's kind of funny. I was watching with every single piece of advice. You saw all of the representatives do this. So everyone agrees on everything. That's fantastic. I have one more slide to just wrap up our time together very, very quickly. Thank you once again for everyone joining us tonight. Students, attendees, and especially all of our presenters, we really appreciate it. Students and attendees, when you close your window, there will be a link to a very quick, I promise, very quick, it's only 5 questions, survey. If you're willing to take it and share any feedback with us, we would greatly appreciate it. What time are we at? We have one more round of sessions tonight, one more round. So if you're not signed up for something, head to the website, sign up for one more tonight. And then lastly, you will find the recording for this session, as well as all other session recordings at strivescan.com/Ignatius. That's it. Thank you everyone for attending, and have a wonderful rest of your day.